All right, so welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. And today we're going to be looking at a recent news story. Obviously the story about the health insurance CEO who was unfortunately shot.
Right.
But we're not going to be focusing on sort of the usual
Yeah.
outrage or anything like
It's
that.
not the normal stuff.
I'm going to be looking specifically at a Reddit thread that kind of blew up about this, and just the dark humor
Oh, yeah.
that came out of this, and some of the more unconventional support.
Yeah, it's really interesting, that this has become such a breeding ground for humor.
Right.
Given the situation, it's a serious crime.
Yeah.
But it seems like there's a lot of public sentiment, particularly when it comes to healthcare,
Yeah.
in these big, corporations. And it's just finding a really unusual outlet.
It's like everyone suddenly took a break from arguing about politics and just decided to roast this guy.
Yeah.
At McDonald's, of all things.
Right.
So just to catch everyone up, the basic story is a health insurance CEO was shot, and then suspect was later arrested at McDonald's.
Mm-hmm.
But the internet, in its infinite wisdom, latched on to some
The internet always does.
some very specific details.
Yeah.
And it's like, how they always say, like, smile for your mugshot?
Yeah, right.
Well, our suspect decided to go in a slightly different direction.
Yeah, and he's got those
Oh, the eyebrows.
eyebrows, yeah.
I mean, they're quite something.
Yeah.
They're really the star of the show here.
Yeah.
I mean, the internet is obsessed with these eyebrows.
Yeah, it's like how
Nobody understands why he didn't, like, at least try to,
disguise them a little, right?
cover them up or something.
Yeah, or like shave them or something.
I saw one comment that said, dude went full Groucho Marx on the run.
It's just this weird mix of disbelief and amusement.
It is.
He's facing some serious charges, but
Yeah.
everyone's just talking about his eyebrows.
The eyebrows is just so bizarre.
It really speaks to it's like we're all fascinated by the absurd, even when something serious is happening.
I know. It's like we've collectively decided that eyebrow maintenance is the true measure of a criminal mastermind.
That's it.
But, that's not even the wildest part of this.
No.
There's this whole other thing about the McDonald's reviews.
Oh, right. Yes.
So apparently a bunch of people
This is where it gets really funny.
decided to review bomb McDonald's
Oh, yeah.
in Altoona.
Iowa.
Not the right Altoona.
Yeah, this is where the suspect was arrested.
Right.
This is not where the shooting took place.
Exactly.
And I just imagine the McDonald's employees in Iowa
Just scratching their heads like, what is going on?
what is happening?
Yeah.
Why are we suddenly getting all these one-star reviews?
Yeah, and it gets even weirder because some people have decided to go international with it.
Oh, no.
There's a McDonald's in Altoona, Australia that's getting review bombed too.
No way.
Yeah, it's like people just saw Altoona and went with it.
Oh, the internet. It's amazing.
It's a wonderful and terrifying place.
But what's funny is even with these jokes, there's something deeper there.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like a commentary on how we all feel about these big corporations,
Totally. And speaking of frustration, we got to talk about the Waffle House phenomenon.
Oh, yeah, the Waffle House thing.
So apparently a lot of people online
A lot of people.
are convinced that if this guy had gone to a Waffle House instead of McDonald's,
Right.
he would be a free man,
He'd be scot-free.
like completely.
Yeah, it's like Waffle House has this image of being tough, they don't mess around.
Yeah, resilient.
Yeah, resilient. And it's almost become the symbol of sticking it to the man.
Yeah, it's like this weird anti-establishment icon.
Exactly.
And people are picturing the Waffle House employees like hiding him,
Yeah.
cooking up these elaborate meals to distract the cops.
Like a scene out of a movie.
I even saw one comment that said, Waffle House staff would have smuggled him out in a to-go box labeled extra crispy hash browns.
That's classic.
I mean, come on.
It's hilarious.
But it's this weird mix of dark humor and like genuine admiration for Waffle House.
Yeah, it's like they're saying, forget lawyers.
Right.
Just get me a Waffle House cook and I'll be fine.
Scattered, smothered, and covered justice.
Exactly. That's perfect.
But all jokes aside,
Yeah.
there is this underlying theme of distrust towards authority
Yeah.
that keeps coming up in this thread.
Oh, absolutely. Especially with the comments about the McDonald's employee who called the cops.
Oh, yeah. The whole
The snitches get stitches crowd.
snitches get stitches.
Yeah.
Crew is out in full force.
Yeah, they're already placing bets on when this employee is going to disappear or get ripped off from the reward money.
Yeah.
It's cynical, but,
Man.
maybe not that unrealistic.
Yeah.
Especially since we're talking about a wealthy CEO here.
Yeah. And, speaking of cynicism, do you remember that Pennsylvania governor who called people who were supporting the suspect
Oh, yeah, yeah.
dark corners?
It's a dark corners comment.
Well, the internet did what the internet does best.
Of course.
Turn it into a meme fest.
Instant meme.
Immediately.
I mean, come on. That was like throwing red meat to those Redditors.
They jumped all over that.
They were like, wait, these dark corners seem to be like most people.
The majority.
Yeah, it's like he accidentally stumbled into their lair.
I know. It's like he walked right into that one.
And they were ready.
They were ready.
They were waiting for him. Yeah, it's like he walked right into their trap.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's not just about calling out hypocrisy or whatever.
Right.
There's this deeper frustration there, you know, the sense that the system's messed up and nobody's really doing anything about it.
It's like everyone's looking at this case and saying, see, this is what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
But instead of being all doom and gloom about it,
yeah,
they're turning it into this dark comedy.
It's a coping mechanism.
It is.
I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
Humor is a really powerful way to deal with heavy stuff.
It is.
Especially when you feel like things are out of control.
Right.
Like we laugh at funerals sometimes. We crack jokes when we're stressed.
Right.
It's like a release valve.
So even though this case involves a shooting,
which
is obviously super serious,
right,
you're saying the internet's response is actually a way of dealing with their anxiety about healthcare costs and corporate power and
all that stuff.
It's
not that they're condoning violence or anything.
Right.
It's more like they're trying to find a way to cope with how absurd it all is.
Through humor.
Through humor, exactly.
Okay, but isn't there a risk that this kind of humor could actually desensitize us to real problems?
That's a good point.
Like, if we're always joking about corporate greed or violence,
right,
does it eventually just lose its impact?
I think that's definitely something to be aware of.
Yeah.
There's a fine line between using humor to cope and using it to detach from reality.
Right.
But I also think it's important to remember that humor often reflects our values.
That's true.
So the fact that people are finding humor in these specific aspects of the case says something about what they care about.
It's like they're saying, this stuff matters to us and we're going to find a way to talk about it.
Yeah. Even if it's through memes.
Even if it's through memes.
And don't forget the creativity here.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the Waffle House fantasies.
The eyebrows.
The eyebrow obsession.
It's white.
The misplaced McDonald's reviews.
It's like this collective improv show.
Yeah.
Where everyone's just riffing off each other.
It is.
Pushing the boundaries of what's funny.
They're taking this dark situation and turning it into something completely absurd.
Yeah. It's like a dark comedy.
And it's creating a sense of community. Like, they're all in on the joke together.
Like finding your people. But it's not all just laughs and memes, right?
Right.
What's the serious side to this?
I think it shows that people are disillusioned.
Yeah.
They're looking for answers, for someone to address their concerns.
When those answers aren't coming.
And when those answers aren't coming, they turn to humor.
To cope.
To cope. To express their discontent.
Right.
And to connect with others who feel the same way.
It's like saying, we're not okay with this, but we're not going to let it get us down.
Exactly.
We're going to find a way to laugh about it.
And I think that's the key takeaway.
Yeah.
Even dark humor can be a sign of resilience.
Okay.
A way of refusing to be defeated.
So as we try to make sense of this crazy world, maybe a little dark humor is what we need to stay sane.
It's like a pressure valve.
Yeah.
It lets us release the tension.
And it reminds us that even in the darkest times, there's always something to laugh about.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we've covered a lot of ground here.
Yeah.
You know, we talked about the eyebrows and
the eyebrows, of course.
The Waffle House.
The Waffle House.
The McDonald's reviews.
Yeah, all the good stuff.
All the cynicism. But before we wrap up, there's one thing I'm kind of curious about.
Okay.
So we talked about how this humor can be a coping mechanism, right?
Right.
A way to process all this.
To deal with those complex emotions.
Yeah, exactly.
And to connect with other people.
But is there a point where it goes too far? Like, is there a risk that we become so desensitized to everything that we just stop caring?
That's a really good question.
Or stop taking action?
Yeah. Humor can be tricky like that.
Yeah.
It can be a double-edged sword. It can help us cope, but it can also lead to apathy if we're not careful.
So how do we find that balance?
I think awareness is key.
Okay.
We need to be mindful of what we're laughing at and why.
Like, is it bringing people together or pushing them apart?
Exactly.
Is it punching up or punching down?
Yeah. Those are important things to consider.
Because it's not just about what's funny, but also who it's directed at.
Absolutely.
It's like that saying, comedy is tragedy plus time.
Right, right.
Maybe we need to allow ourselves to laugh.
Yeah.
But never forget the tragedy.
The root of the joke.
Yeah.
I think that's a good way to put it.
Because maybe laughing together, even when things are dark, can be a way to start a conversation.
It can create a space for dialogue.
Yeah.
Where we can talk about difficult things without shutting down, without getting overwhelmed.
So maybe all this laughter.
Yeah.
Even the dark stuff.
Even the dark stuff.
It's not a sign that we've given up.
No, not at all.
It's a sign that we're still trying.
We're still coping.
We're still finding ways to connect.
To connect, to find hope.
And to resist.
To resist, exactly.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that even in the darkest of times, the human spirit is incredibly resilient.
And finds a way to laugh.
Finds a way to laugh, yeah.
All right, well, on that note, I think we've done our deep dive into the internet's weird sense of humor.
We went deep.
We did.
Into the darkest corners.
Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
And remember, sometimes the best way to deal with darkness is to shine a light on it.
Shine a light on it.
And have a good laugh.
And have a good laugh.
We'll see you next time.